We resume our journey this week with Thomas, who is not too happy that Robbie was filming him. We had just come from Granada, and we came to Barcelona for one reason only, and it was to see this building, the Sagrada Familia, which means Sacred Family. And on first glance, this building can almost appear alien, but the more you understand what it means, the more beautiful it becomes. And it really is my favorite building. Every part of this building has meaning. It's a building glowing with meaning. This side of the building is called the Nativity Facade, and it has the entire story of Christ's birth symbolically structured to represent the entire cosmos. You have lower things placed lower for a reason and higher things for a reason. Down below are animals, up above are angelic beings. The star is above that. And then towering above the entire facade is the tree of life. You have some elements that represent righteousness, some that represent wickedness, some that represent the right hand, some the left hand. So really you have all of creation symbolized by the structure of this story. And out on the periphery, you have the natural world. You have animals, and even animals that represent different categories of creation. You have these doors that harken back to the Garden of Eden, to paradise, and of course they let you into what represents paradise, and that is the interior of this. And just by looking at Sarah's reaction, you can tell what it feels like to come in here. These videos do not do this building justice. The interior is so unique because it is structured like a forest. Almost every cathedral is structured like a forest inside, but this one so much more than any other because of the genius innovation of Antonio Gaudí, the architect. And it has taken nearly 150 years to build this building because the technology that it's taken to build it didn't exist when it was first designed. All these columns are even made of different types of stone representing different things. The strongest stone, like Owen is by right now, the biggest columns, make up these four main columns that support most of the building. And on them are the four signs of the four evangelists, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Symbolic that without those gospels, you really wouldn't have Christianity. You wouldn't know who Christ was. Then you're seeing the stained glass that represents other aspects of creation, nighttime, daytime, different seasons. Every aspect of the building is symbolic, and it's really overwhelming. But that's the point, is that you're not supposed to get it all at once. You're supposed to slowly unravel the meaning over the course of a lifetime. Cathedrals are built in the shape of a cross, and the most important things happen right at the axis of the cross, and that's where this is. Wheat is up there above, grapes are hanging, the lights are the Holy Ghost. And below it is the altar, which is kind of a miniature holy mountain. And right there on the top of the altar is where the bread and the wine are prepared. And then above this structure, you have this conical structure in the roof with this golden pyramid. And this represents God the Father, the pinnacle of the hierarchy. As you exit the building on the other side, you have the Passion Facade. This is the west side where the sun sets, because this is where the sun set on Christ's life. On the other side, which was the Nativity Facade, that is the east side where the sun rises. And just like on the other side, you have the entire story of Christ's death, and then up above actually his resurrection, all portrayed and structured in symbolic fashion. Up above all these images that tell the story of Christ's crucifixion is the resurrected Christ, or a small representation of him. But in fact, there's a third facade called the Glory Facade that is yet unbuilt, and that will focus on the glory of Christ and his resurrection. One thing I love about this facade is that it takes stone, like you're seeing these outer elements of stone, and it really makes them look like something organic, something from a body. And then you see this more wider stone that gives you that feeling of bone, because after all, this is about the bodily death of Christ. And here's that image placed above of the resurrected Christ. But really, the whole building is, again, just brimming with symbolism. You can't take it all in at once. You've got the entire Christian cosmos represented. You have the entire natural world represented. The building, when it's finished, will have 18 total towers. 12 for the 12 apostles, 4 for the 4 evangelists, 1 for Mary, and then the central and tallest tower will be for Christ. As you can tell, I could go on forever about this building, and I'll spare you that. But it's worth thinking how this building has been under construction for almost 150 years, and how rare that is in the world today. We just don't do that anymore. We don't think that way. We don't think beyond our lifetimes. And as a result, we don't get places like this anymore, and the other just breathtakingly beautiful and meaningful places that you find around Europe. And really, it's a shame. It's something we could change again about the world. But soon enough, it was time to leave the Sagrada Familia, and this is what it looks like when we are moving and traveling with everything, all the gear and 3 bikes. In fact, there's another bike in the car, all fitting in a van that fits in a parking garage. This is a rest stop in France, the best rest stops I have ever been to. Check this out. Children's playground, you got picnic tables, there was nice facilities, nice shopping, really quite a wonderful experience. And of course, the world of French food that you just can't get enough of. We traveled to Normandy, and the next day, the first thing we went to was to come see this, Mont Michel, one of the most beautiful structures in the world, if you ask me. And so while we were out there, it got me thinking, what makes a place beautiful? What makes a natural place or a man-made place beautiful? And I got thinking, I think it has to do with patterns of meaning that we see in nature or man-made places. I mean, you have this place, which is an island, a place surrounded by chaotic waters, but it's also a mountain. And both of those are patterns that we find meaningful. And then on top of the mountain, we build a man-made structure and put a temple-like structure with a spire reaching to the heavens. Again, other patterns of meaning. And then we put a wall around the island. And so it has a sense of protection from those outside elements, the chaotic waters. And then from up on top of the mountain, up on top of the structure, again, that reaches into the heavens, you have this place dedicated to God. It was a monastery. It served as different things at different times. So you bring all those layers of meaning together, and it creates this magical kind of place. It's exactly the kind of feeling you get from buildings in Lord of the Rings or Hogwarts and Harry Potter. It's that combination of natural beauty, man-made beauty, but places that were built around meaningful things, were built to augment that meaning. And then we hit it on a wonderful day, sun piercing through the clouds. It was raining when we got there. It was just horrible, raining, blustering, but the clouds parted, the rays came through the sun. It was super windy up there at top, but really I couldn't have asked for a greater day because you love those clouds. There was birds just flying up around the spires. The place itself had this great medieval feeling architecture, once again really hearkening to a Harry Potter-esque Hogwarts kind of feel, the huge fireplaces. It's the kind of place that you could wish you could call your summer home, I guess. The family took the bus back the 1.5 miles to the parking lot, but I opted to walk it back just so I could turn around every few hundred feet and see the different way that silhouette looked on the landscape. The next morning, it was kind of a late morning. Everyone was hungry, and when in France, what do you got to do? You got to go get some pastries and etc. But I got there, and even though it was morning, this great sausage place was going. So of course I got the pastries, I got the bread, and a little something for Dad for taking the trip, some frites and a awesome andouille sausage, all to take back to our, what I would call the epitome of your French country farmhouse, where in the farmhouse kitchen we have the Instagram-worthy display of the pastries and the butter and the cheese and the bread. Kind of all came together that morning. You know, it's not every day, but quite often really while we've been out here, things just sometimes come together like this, like in that kind of magical way that you hope they would. Once again, great fireplace kind of setting. Oh, and what's this? A bell to call the little ones to mealtime. And here they come. And who wouldn't want pastries and French cheeses and crusty bread? Release the hounds! This was literally like 10:30 a.m., so everybody was starving. I had somehow made it home without any of that sausage left to share. Oopsies. So, hope you enjoy this scene of us stuffing our faces on some of the world's finest pastries. I'm going to show you a lot of this French farmhouse that we stayed in because it really left quite an impression on us. It was really the quintessence of what you would think a French farmhouse in the Normandy countryside would look like. And just like at Mont Michel, it really got me thinking, why is it that these places are so special? Why do you feel like you're inside a fairy tale when you're in such places? Is it because they're so old? And I don't think that's it at all. I think if you built these places in the same ways today, then they would be just as beautiful and they would evoke those same kind of feelings. There wouldn't be something fake about it. But the thing is, we don't build places like this anymore. Like our houses that we build today, they're nice and they are beautiful for a while, but then a lot of them fade out of beauty. And so maybe they didn't fall quite into the real patterns of beauty at all. Maybe they were just kind of falling into patterns of novelty. Anyway, sorry to get all philosophical just about a French farmhouse, but it really got me thinking. We could build our houses and things like this more, things that would last for the ages. I think it'd be more expensive these days, but the long-term payoff would be much higher than the kind of places that we build right now. One of the main reasons we stayed in Normandy for a few days instead of just going straight to the UK was to learn about the Normandy invasion in World War II. Driving across France, we had actually watched several episodes of the Band of Brothers miniseries and talked with the kids about what was World War II, what was the significance of it, and what was the nature of the D-Day invasion. And doing all of that really made it so everything in Normandy came alive. I mean, where we were staying was where the Band of Brothers division parachuted in on D-Day. We were staying right in the same place. We'd really wanted to see the American military cemetery, but we had gotten there too late and it was closed and we weren't allowed in. And then we learned that we were staying right next to this German military cemetery. So we went there right at the close of day and were able to see that. And you don't really think that, of course, there would be German military cemeteries in the area as well. And maybe you think, well, but it's not going to be anything special because you're in that good guy, bad guy mentality. But that wasn't our experience at all. It was very peaceful. We were the only people there. It was right at sunset. And you just pause to think that the common soldier, of course, really doesn't fall into that category of good guy, bad guy. They were giving their lives for their country just like the other side. So it was good to go there and reflect on that. And just like that, we were only there in Normandy for a few days. So here we are in the morning, driving away to head to the UK, to Wales, our next home for a month. And a memorable experience will be going on the Channel, the train that you, as you can see, literally drive your vehicle onto, that then takes you underneath the English Channel. So we got to be the lead car. Here we are driving down to the end, inside the train, down up to the front of it, I guess you could say. And soon enough we would be driving, I guess, in the bedrock underneath the entire English Channel. Here we are eating our lunches as we enjoy our leisurely 30-minute journey into the UK. And that's it for this week. See you next time.